You know what nobody wants to hear? That you're the problem. Not your boss, not your circumstances, not your bad luck or your terrible childhood. You. And here's the part that'll really upset you. Discipline yourself isn't advice, it's a demand. It's the one non-negotiable requirement for anything worthwhile in your life. And if you're sitting there thinking, I'll get disciplined when I feel motivated, congratulations, you've already lost. Because discipline doesn't wait for motivation. Discipline is what you do when motivation abandons you at 5 a.m. and you still have to show up. If you're the kind of person who's tired of making excuses and ready to hear the uncomfortable truth about why your life isn't where you want it to be, then make sure to subscribe. Because what we're about to discuss isn't going to make you feel good, but it will make you better. Let me ask you something. What's your excuse today? And I'm not being rhetorical. I genuinely want you to think about what story you're telling yourself right now about why you can't do the thing you know you need to do. Is it that you're too busy? Too tired? Too stressed? Too broke? Too late? Here's the harsh reality. Those aren't reasons. They're negotiations you're having with yourself. And you're losing. Because discipline isn't about having perfect conditions. It's about doing what needs to be done regardless of conditions. You think the person who built the business you admire waited until everything felt right? You think the athlete who inspired you trained only when they felt like it? You think the author whose book changed your life only wrote on days they felt creative? No, they disciplined themselves. And here's what that actually means. It means they became the kind of person who could be trusted to show up, especially when it was hard, especially when it sucked, especially when no one was watching. Think about this. How many times have you promised yourself something? How many New Year's resolutions have you abandoned by February? How many workout plans lasted exactly 3 days? How many times have you said, I'm really going to do it this time, and then didn't? Every single one of those broken promises is a fracture in your self-trust. And when you can't trust yourself, you become a stranger to your own potential. You start to believe the excuses. You start to think, I'm just not that kind of person. And that becomes your identity. But you know what the beautiful, terrifying truth is? You're not disciplined because you haven't disciplined yourself. That's it. That's the whole equation. You want to know why discipline is so powerful? Because it's the bridge between who you are and who you could be. It's not about perfection, it's about progression. It's not about never falling, it's about getting up every single time. Let me tell you about the most disciplined person I know. She's not a CEO or a Navy SEAL. She's a single mother working 2 jobs who wakes up at 4:30 a.m. to study for her nursing degree. Nobody applauds her. Nobody's making documentaries about her morning routine. But every morning in the dark, she makes a choice. She disciplines herself. And you know what's happened over 2 years? She's not the same person. Not because life got easier. It got harder. Tuition increased. Her car broke down. Her kid got sick. But she became someone who could handle harder. That's what discipline does. It doesn't eliminate struggle. It fortifies you against it. You're probably thinking, okay, but where do I start? And that's actually the wrong question. The right question is, what am I currently doing that I know I shouldn't be doing? Because here's the secret nobody wants to acknowledge. You already know what needs to change. You know that scrolling for 3 hours isn't helping you. You know that hitting snooze 6 times is making you late and anxious. You know that eating fast food every day is destroying your health. You know that avoiding that difficult conversation is making everything worse. You know. But knowledge without action is just sophisticated procrastination. It's like standing at the edge of a cold pool, knowing all the benefits of swimming and never getting in. So start there. Pick one thing, just one that you know you need to stop doing. Not the biggest thing, not the most impressive thing. Just something that when you're honest with yourself in the quiet moments, you know is holding you back. Maybe it's staying up until 2 a.m. watching videos. Maybe it's checking your phone first thing in the morning. Maybe it's complaining constantly about circumstances you're not willing to change. Stop doing that one thing for 7 days. Just 7 days. And I'm not saying this will transform your life, but here's what will happen. You'll prove to yourself that you can keep a promise. That small victory, that tiny restoration of self-trust, that's where discipline begins. If what we've discussed so far is resonating with you and you're realizing that discipline might be the missing piece in your life, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because we're about to go even deeper into what it actually takes to become disciplined. Now let's talk about what discipline isn't, because this is where people get confused and give up. Discipline is not punishment. It's not about hating yourself into compliance. It's not about being rigid and joyless. That's not discipline. That's self-abuse disguised as self-improvement. Real discipline is actually an act of self-respect. It's saying, I care enough about my future self to make decisions my current self doesn't want to make. Think about it like this. Every time you choose the disciplined path, you're sending a message to your future self. You're saying, I've got you. I'm not going to sabotage you with bad decisions today because I know you're going to have to deal with the consequences tomorrow. And the opposite is true too. Every time you break a promise to yourself, every time you take the easy path, you're telling your future self, you're on your own. I'm going to do what feels good right now, and you'll have to clean up the mess. Which version of yourself do you want to be? Here's another critical thing people misunderstand. Discipline gets easier, but it never gets easy. And that's good news disguised as bad news. It's good news because it means every single person who's disciplined is fighting the same fight you are. They're not superhuman. They don't have some special gene. They've just made the decision that the discomfort of discipline is preferable to the suffering of regret. Because here's what nobody tells you about an undisciplined life. It's actually harder. Way harder. You think waking up early is hard? Try living with the constant anxiety of being behind on everything. You think working out is hard? Try living in a body that can't do the things you want to do. You think having difficult conversations is hard? Try living with the resentment of unspoken truth. An undisciplined life is a life spent managing the consequences of avoiding discipline, and those consequences compound. They don't stay static, they multiply. That job you hate but won't leave because you're comfortable? In 5 years, you'll be more trapped and more miserable, except now you're 5 years older with 5 more years of atrophied skills and diminished options. That relationship you know isn't working but you're too afraid to address? Every month you wait, the problem grows and your courage shrinks. That health issue you're ignoring? It's sending you polite warnings now. Later, it won't be polite. Discipline is simply choosing which hard you want to face, the hard of doing something now or the exponentially harder reality of dealing with what happens when you don't. Let me give you a framework that's helped thousands. It's simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. First, define one non-negotiable daily action, not 10, one. Maybe it's 30 minutes of focused work on your side project. Maybe it's no phone for the first hour after waking. Maybe it's going to bed by 10 p.m. Whatever it is, make it specific and measurable. Second, commit to it for 30 days, no exceptions. Not I'll try my best, not I'll do it most days. No exceptions. Because every exception you make is teaching yourself that your commitments are negotiable. Third, track it. Put an X on a calendar, use an app, tell someone who'll hold you accountable. Make it visible, because what gets measured gets managed, and what gets managed gets done. Fourth, when you fail, because you will, get back on track immediately. Don't wait until Monday, don't wait until the first of the month. The moment you realize you've broken the chain, start a new one. One bad day doesn't erase 30 good ones unless you let it. And here's the part that changes everything. As you do this, pay attention to who you're becoming. Because discipline isn't just about the action, it's about the identity shift that happens when you consistently keep promises to yourself. You're not just someone who works out, you become someone who honors their commitments. You're not just someone who wakes up early. You become someone who takes control of their day instead of letting the day control them. That identity shift is everything, because eventually you stop needing to force yourself. Disciplined action becomes who you are, not just what you do. So here's where we are. You know you need to discipline yourself. You know what you need to start or stop doing. And you know that nobody's coming to save you from an undisciplined life. The question isn't whether discipline works. It does. The question is whether you're willing to become the kind of person who disciplines themselves. And I can't answer that for you, but I can tell you this. A year from now, you'll either thank yourself for starting today, or you'll wish you had. The choice, as always, is yours. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect moment to do it. Hit that subscribe button and leave a like if this video pushed you to think differently about discipline. And make sure to watch the next video on screen, where we dive into exactly how to build unbreakable habits that stick. Because discipline without a system is just willpower, and willpower runs out. Thank you for watching, and remember, the only way out is through. Start today.